Hello and welcome to another Arbites video. Today I'll be showing you my best Arbites build, and this build will be under the presumption that you're using Dog Whistle, because I believe Dog Whistle makes this class or this build the best build in the game. And this won't work necessarily as well if you're on console, but you'll have to be more proactive with how you ping, which you probably should already be doing. So you're building a good habit, so it's not even that bad. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now, right off the bat, you'll see I'm not using Arbites Shock Maul, which is probably the best weapon for Arbites, but that's because with the shield, you can get up close, which you'll need to be able to get up close on gunners and other shooter-like enemies, because as you'll see, our Curios are mostly health and not necessarily toughness, which will get cracked if you don't have shield, which can lead to things falling apart. Now, the stat you want to dump is power output, because that just affects the flash special ability of this, which is also very helpful, but it doesn't decrease it by that much. And defenses is useful for blocking ranged enemies, as I'll explain. For perks, you want Flak and Carapace. Flak because most enemies are Flak armored, and Carapace because it helps us do more damage to Crushers and Maulers, and even Ragers. This weapon already has great penetration, and that compared with the Blessing Opportunist basically lets you cut through armor like it's not even there, which is really helpful. And High Voltage because your weapon intrinsically does electric damage, so it's just free damage for hitting an enemy. And it also increased the damage of your Cyber Mastiff's electric attack when it pounces on something, which is very helpful. And for our ranged weapon, I chose the Boltgun. The way you're going to be using this is going to be against bosses and when there are a group of enemies where you need to clear out the room. And to do this, you want to dump collateral, because that just messes with stagger. And you want to, for the perks, have unyielding and flak. Flak because, believe it or not, like unarmored shooters and rain and flak armored shooters both have flak armored, which makes no sense, but when you shoot them at center mass, which you'll most likely be doing with this weapon, you can two-shot them up to half of 40. And Shattering Impact because it also increases the damage done to Unyielding, even though it doesn't seem like it would. Unyielding has a little bit of like armor resistance, even though it's just flesh. But that will also help with Puncture, which gives you bleed, and that will just be extra damage, and it synergizes well with Shattering Impact, and those two combined will give you a bunch of damage, which I think this build, or this class in general, lacks in. It's probably one of the only things it can't do very well, aside from maybe Horde Clear, but even then you have like mines and stuff. So having the ability to do a bunch of boss damage is very helpful, and be flexible enough to deal with ranged enemies if you don't want to advance your position to get the shooters. Now, for our Curios, as you probably saw before, 2 health blessings and 1 toughness blessing, and our perks are all going to be the same. The reason I'm choosing max health is because one of our talents allows us to take like any attack in the game and reduce it to 50 damage, which is probably the best way I can explain it. And that includes everything from crusher overheads to snipers to pox bombs to boss slams and everything in between. And you want to lean into it with the Curios to get the most out of it. On Auric, you get, I think, 280 health, and on Havoc, I think it's 200. So at the very least, you get 4 hits of Crusher overheads before you go down, which is kind of insane. And you may not think it's that useful until you're in a corner and there's like a second left on your dog charge, and you like get overheaded or sniped or something stupid, because sometimes you can't control that. Um, and this would just give you that safety net, and it's very useful. And for our perks, combat ability regen and toughness, especially, and block efficiency. This will allow you to take basically any attack in the game except for pox bursters and scab trappers, and you can block it, even like crusher overheads and mauler overheads. So if you're not thinking you're, tanky enough, you have this, block efficiency. And it also helps with, obviously, gunners, which you're going to be dealing with a lot. Now for our talents, no escape, just for the damage, up close for the toughness, and man and cyber mastiff. This compounds with another talent that I'll show you in a minute, to give you basically 10% toughness each second when your cyber mastiff's close to you. And because you're not taking go get 'em, the wander radius of your cyber mastiff is reduced, so it's closer to you, but you're still getting uptime on it because you have dog whistle or you're pinging, which basically allows you to have your cake and eat it too, and you come down, get toughness damage reduction and remote detonation because you're using dog. And then you want to do ammo belt for more ammo on your bolter. That way, and it's 25%, which is how much veteran has, and it's just really nice. What it is an absolute most is get voltaic mandibles. Not only does this interact with a bunch of blessings and perks and talents, right? It also perma-stuns crushers and reapers and anything else that can't necessarily be tackled, except for bosses, but that's obvious. Concussive, just getting a melee weak spot hit makes them count as staggered, which means that like you don't actually have to stagger something for it to count as staggered. So like, for example, the blessings that I have on my shield where you get the rending, you get that, armor penetration without actually completing the requirement of the perk, which is really nice. Suppression protocols to give you that toughness damage reduction. Breaking descent to get more damage from I think basically everything, even bosses. Then you come down. You don't want to grab these two since you have dog whistle. Grab impact so you can do break the line and commendation from condemnation. Oh my god, these names are ridiculous. But you might be wondering why I'm not taking targeted brutality, and that's simply because it's like you get 5 seconds off, and this ability is already 20 seconds long, even less because you have ability cooldown reduction on your Curios. So it's really not worth it, because you get it back so fast, you're just wasting a point. Then you come down to the left, grab all these, which, a little side note, hold the line and justified measures is always active because your dog can count as an attack, and also hold the line counts as staggering an enemy when your dog pounces on something, so that'll always be up at max stacks. Then you come down to zealous dedication for the critical chance, and soul guilt scan for the weak spot damage. Then street smarts, because it's just dodging is essential in this game, and monstrosity hunter to give you more damage on ogrins and monstrosities, obviously. Target the weak to give you more damage. The Emperor's Fist and Weight of the Lex also give you more melee damage. And trust me, you're going to need all of it, because the shield doesn't necessarily have the best melee damage. without it. And then True Grit, this is what I was talking about, limiting the maximum health damage taken to 50. This is really, really nice. And required for this build, basically. And Forceful, this actually gets triggered by your Cyber Mastiff, so when it staggers an enemy, you'll get a bunch of damage resistance. And Will of the Lex, so since you're constantly having max stacks of Forceful, you'll have like 5% toughness regen, even if your dog's not near you. So it's really nice. And Arbites Vigilant, this gives you more damage, basically, when you use your ability. And this actually works regardless of what weapon you're using. So you can use your shield and your bolter, sorry, which stacks with Break the Line that gives you 25 damage, and you don't even need melee damage. It works with range damage too. And then finally, Target Acquired. This is because you get plus 10 attack speed and 50 cleave, and having that extra cleave means you can hit more enemies in a single strike. And that attack speed may seem useless, but it also applies to your bolter, and that just gives you a higher fire rate, which is very helpful with the bolter when you're doing full auto. And as a example of how good this build is on bosses, the only thing you need to do is have your dog attack, let's say, a crusher. And as you can see, it builds up stacks really fast because the shock counts as staggering an enemy. And then you bash. I missed a bullet there. But it basically deletes most of the health of any boss, which you can't really do with other Arbites builds very consistently. Anyways, this has been the best build that I could come up with. Thank you for watching.